We're back, and this time it's one of my just redone, as far as not the model itself, but the base, which we'll get to in a minute here. But I just wanted to do this in a little bit more lighting, so you can see the paint and everything, the overall. I just used the base coat of Model Master Pale Green sprayed on, and then I picked out different panels, and I used I think it was forgot, a medium green, something a little bit darker, and a green zinc chromate for the green that you see there. A little bit of gray here and there and all that. Pretty much the same on the panels up on that area, and on the or the bridge, whatever you want to call her. The underside's pretty much the same. The steel color and those there, whatever you want to call them, the different sections that where the wing, everything. That's the steel, and I heavily weathered them with some rust color style chalks. The back of the ship where the engine's at and everything, stock part. I didn't do the little modifying on it or nothing like that. To me, it's good enough and everything. It still gives the same effect. So, but that's the ship. Just the colors that I use and overall. The underside, of course, is got the red wings and everything. And I use a lot of black chalks, especially like up there on what I call the shoulders and everything. And the whole ship, a little wash of black just to highlight the painting, make them stand out a little bit more. And that's so nothing real heavy, but to make it look like a Klingon ship. So like I said, this is a lit model. I just redid this, so now we'll turn on some lights and everything. Yeah, I did this before, but it was just a video with no talking, something like that, and it was a lot darker, so it was hard to make a lot of stuff out. The first thing I did when I started building this, I worked on the head area, and if you notice, I did drill out all those little tiny openings up there, so I can get a red light ring around it and stuff, like you see. And that was a little bit of work, tiny drill, and kind of drilling out each end and then using it in between for like a saw to get it everything to come out just right and everything. And I had to do a lot of modifying of the little photon in there, the part that the photon torpedo, the launch actually sits in, and modify that quite a bit, trim it down quite a bit. And there was very little plastic left there to glue and keep light from bleeding through, but it all worked out pretty good for me. So I'm real at those. You notice that ring, it does go all the way around the top. It's just there's so small of an opening there that you can't make it out shirts and everything. But I'm happy with that effect. I've got the nav light on top. There wasn't no blinking lights on this, so everything was just pretty much permanent. I got the one up there on the top, I got the one back there on the bottom, and then there's another one back there on the bottom where the landing bays, the landing gear be and stuff. I got those ones in the front of the wings, and then my windows lit out and all that. And then we turn her around. There were that little brighter white behind those windows. I did notice a studio model that was actually there, and it kind of highlighted the front of the wing there a little bit. I added that. That's a fiber that's just stuck in there, picking up the light. My backside, the engines, I got the flickering LEDs, and what I did was I used the clear yellow and clear red and all that on the inside, and then I sprayed it from the inside with the I pick it up at Walmart. It's a regular size spray can, like the Rust-Oleum paints, frosted glass. I use that for my that big time on my big 350 refit on the deflector dish, and it gave me just the right, not too bright, that I was looking for. And it's kind of when everything's turned off, when it or impulse drive, it's got that milk to it, where you don't see that it's a clear piece of plastic. That worked out real well. So I've been using it for a lot of light diffusion on like clear parts like this that have a real lot of light. I wanted to tone it down a little bit more. If you put that stuff, that spray frosted glass, it starts to get, you know, where it won't let light through. It starts to get build up like almost lake and everything. And what I did to diffuse the light just a little bit more where hot spots was I cut a piece of 10,006 sheet styrene. It just rolls up, it sits in the bottom and in the top, it fits in there just right to hold in place. Round it off toward the plastic, the clear plastic part, so it diffuses the light real nice. It wasn't so much for hot spots, it was just to tone it down. Like I said, when I light a model, I try to kill. And if you got something too bright, it starts to get more like looking toy-like. There's a replica of something, you know, like a studio model or something. So I try to keep it down for the size of the model, you know. That worked out. Flickering LEDs back there, and then just to trim all the framework engine assembly back there, I just painted that with a steel color, and I kind of did a little bit on it to bring out some of the details on that. So, but that's all the lights on there and everything, the way it's lit up. Then you turn it. I got the other side lit up, and I'm getting hung up with my cord. The other side I got lit up the same way. I got that little spotlight there, whatever they call. And up top there's a couple nav lights up top. And like I said, I didn't have any flashes or strobes or nothing. Everything was just permanent on, and they were all white. So I went, and then I hooked up. I did the weapon on there, the photon. I just used the red LED back there, and I kind of like it. It looks red. On camera, it's got the red around it, and it's got white in the center. I didn't do nothing to achieve that. It's basically just the way it's picking up the camera, you know, washout effect. So that looks pretty decent. Even in person, just being red, it looks good. I would make a circuit board, but I already had everything wired up and everything. And what I did, everything's grounded, and I just got the positive leads running down. Well, I did make a circuit board like a pulsing, and it was a pulse where it pulse on, stop, and pulse off, stop, back on. When I went to try it out, I hooked up the positive lead from the, and when I took the common ground for everything, it was causing my my little red lights under there, even though they're not tied in on the same circuit. It was that's a separate positive lead coming out of there. Those are tied in with the ship lights. It was causing those, so I guess you got to have a separate ground for any type of board that you're going to use too. Otherwise, problems with some of your other lighting. So, but I'm happy enough. It's always, you know, it's on. I have to switch, turn it on separately and stuff. And when that comes on, I also did the up on the sides. Those are done with fiber optics. And believe it or not, those out. Those are the kit parts, the plastic. I managed to drill those out with a real small drill. I get going nice and straight and all that. And I had a super long drill for the cannons and stuff. So. Didn't drill through the plastic, none. Didn't come out the sides. I got them a little bit at a time. Maybe about every 1/16 of an inch. I back cleared the plastic off of it and went back in a little further. And same thing. It took me probably a whole evening to drill them longer ones out, but it worked out pretty nice. I'm happy with the way it turned out. And those fibers are just running. They're running all the way up through and up in these ring baffles or whatever you want to call it. I built a little box, and I've got a. Those are just fibers, and I built a little box, and I've got the green there. And again, after I did all the lighting, I didn't have real fast flickering LEDs like I used on my Star Destroyer, where it gives you that like strobe effect. I thought about doing those where they'd be like more like a strobe, like, you know, fire one shot after another real quick. But I tried to do that too. I hooked up a flick to the switch itself and ran all these lights, but for some reason a flickering LED make other LEDs flicker. So that's so much for the idea. But constant on like that, it's just a display. Most of the times when you turn something on, like you turn it on, you leave it and lit up, and you don't do all the fancy stuff anyway. It's just there to look pretty and stuff and look good when it's lit. So I'm not too worried. I'm happy with it out. I don't have any plans to build another one and make any of those additions to it. You know, when you start lighting models and you build one and it comes out decent, for me, I'm not going to keep building the same model over and over just to add lighting to it. And I originally, when I did this video, it was just a test video. It was mostly dark. I just had it on the dome base that the kit came with, the large size. I didn't care for that too much and everything, so what I did is I made a last week, and I added the little Klingon design down there. But I didn't do the yellow circle in the middle. I kind of left it out. That's what I did. Is this is just a piece of 1/4-inch plywood. Cut it out thinner so I could get that closer to the top and everything. And then this pattern actually off the little base comes with the 1/1000 kit and stuff. And then I put a piece of clear plexiglass back there. Built a little box around it, and I got a couple LEDs. Got one there, and then I just used my clear red, blue, and green to and it lights up. And then I built the box kind of like when you do the shuttle bays on the Star Destroyer box and the LED and all that, and it keeps the light contained in that area. So then I glue over the bottom, which would be the top, you know, if it's turned upside down, and then give you a little peek. And that's what pretty much what the box looks like back there, the bottom of my base, and that gave me, you know, a little bit of an interesting base rather than just a plain black piece of board or something. And then one model and everything, I had enough light inside as far as the ship lights, and the lights in the front and the head and the buff, I was happy with all those as far as, you know, they show up. The Klingon ship usually in the movies, it was lit up not as brightly as the Enterprise. It was a lot dimmer, a dirtier ship. You know, the Klingons, they didn't keep after their equipment, but there in the main body and stuff, I just wasn't happy. I got crystal clear over the windows openings and stuff, but I just wasn't getting enough light. Same with those side lights and everything. Those are just little short pieces of fiber that are not really tied into a LED. But the lights just weren't bright enough and very dark. And I drilled out the crystal clear, redid it and stuff. I do have it light blocked inside, and I do have it painted gloss white, but it just wasn't throwing the lights I wanted. So I decided I'm going to go through the back, being that the kit model's all sealed up. I could take the back of the engine. I didn't glue that engine part on, so I pulled that, get a LED on each side of it. But the only, since this is 5-minute epoxy to the model, the support rod, it's the same done to the base. I 5-minute epoxied it. Well, I figured, well, I'll drill a small hole up in here right before the rod, and I can pop through, and then about so far down I'll drill a little hole in there, and I can run a new wire down through my base, and I can grab it. I got a little hook thing that I use. I can grab the wire, pull it through the back, and then hook up some LEDs, one for each side, and I can run them up toward the front here and all that. Well, in doing so, that wasn't going to work out too well for me, and then I decided another base, so I figured, well, I'll go with a bigger support tube. So what I did, I took and cut it, and made sure I didn't cut through none of my wires. For some reason there was a in that, and when I start messing around, I got the old base off of it, and I had all my wires running down. Well, it decided to break, and when I rod into the model, I actually let a little epoxy get inside of the tube, the brass rod, and it keeps the wires. And most of my models are permanent; they don't swivel. But if it in a swivel, it kind of keeps the wires from twisting and rubbing against each other, and that they got on that magnet wire can't wear out, and then you start getting it short. Well, everything broke, and accidentally, I didn't plan it. All the wires started at that point because the rod was all this weight was swerving on me, so I had to do some major surgery. Well, when all the wires, when a couple of wires got short, the lights, I was getting them to a certain point. When I twisted it, they would come on out on there, and I still had a part of the old rod left there, and it just you get it in a position, all the lights would work, but as soon as you let go, they stopped. So I said, okay, trash this and build a new one. Well, with all that drilling work on that outer ring there and stuff, go through the hassle again. So fortunately, I had about 1/4 inch of the wires, and I was able to actually take new leads, and there's five positives and 3 negatives. I was able to take the lead sticking out, and I kind of hooked the end of each wire and hooked these I was going to solder on, and I was able to solder them together that way with problems. Got everything back working as far as the lighting went. But then I was worried about, after I shrink tubing on them, was I going to be able to use a small tube? When I do a bigger model, I use naturally support the weight. But when I do something smaller, I don't want a big 1/2-inch tube down there with a little, because then it takes away from the realism a lot more to me. I like to use the thickness of my support rods as far as the size of the model, and not make it stand out as much, where you don't notice it as much as you would something that might be diameter and run up. So fortunately, with all the shrink tube, the wires resoldered just a little, just enough to keep them connected and not on me or coming loose. I was able to fit all that inside this new tube. I stole a new hole down here and the new lights I added, since I couldn't get them through there because I managed to snake the wires down there. I got a couple wraps you can see when I get up close to it. Painted them the same color as the tube, the flat black and everything, so they're not that noticeable. Everything real white, real good for me. Boom, I saved the model, didn't have to build a new one, didn't have a part to do all that saving, reconnecting everything. I got the lights, they're a lot brighter now. You can see them even in the daylight. So I'm very happy. I like the way the model overall turned out. Home on the base. I'm happy with the way the weapons, even though there are no tricks to them or special effects that they do. I like the way all that stuff turned out. I wanted to build it lit up because I want to display it like facing my fit and everything, and maybe I'll do a video with the two of them together. But it's so high up on the base so it's kind of the same level as the saucer on my refit, and it's going to fire at the bridge or something, or underneath at the sensor. So that's why it's mounted up so high, much higher off the base than I normally would have done standalone, because it's kind of like to go along with another model to cleaner, a scene type display and all that. So hope you guys, I think it turned out pretty decent. I'm happy with the results. I like my little deal. I'm still going to do the yellow. I think this is just adds a little bit of coolness to the base, makes it look a little bit different and all that. So I'll probably just end up leaving it away. If I put a yellow dot in the middle, it wouldn't be on the plexiglass. It would be just paint everything, but that still shows up even when it's turned off. You can see the three different all that design and stuff. So I'm pretty happy with the way it is. So like my Klingon bird of prey, it's the AMT 1350. This is the one that comes with the landing feet too. This is the newer one. I actually got this was HDA Modelworks. He had good kits for regular price, and they might have had some damage to the box, but the kit was all intact. They were still sealed. It was just the boxes. And he was selling them a little bit cheaper and stuff. So this is probably my favorite Klingon ship out of all of them. And that, but if down the line I do keeps their word and comes out in sometime late fall with the 350 scale, because that'll be one hell of a nice kit to add on and have with the refit in this one. So it'd make for a real nice display to have the three ships together. So till the next time, to you guys, like I said again, hope you enjoyed the video, hope you enjoyed the model. It doesn't bother me none. It's like, it turned out the way I wanted it, probably better than I wanted it to. And we'll see you next time. So I'll probably be more videos revisiting some models that I did in the past, but it was all the detail as far as the model itself, other than the lighting. And I kind of want to find out what I want about to do them, to build them or paint them or light them or anything. So go into a little bit more detail. I got the Republic Star Destroyer to do, and do another video with my Battlestar Galactica Pegasus and ships in the daylight type room lighting. Not so off the lighting or nothing. I already did some videos on that, but the more to show so you can see the models. So it's nice to do a lit up model, but you almost have to film it in the dark if you want it to release. But then you can't make out the model, the detail on the models or something. So till the next day, have a good one. Take care. Happy modeling. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting the like button, comments, and we'll be talking to you. Bye.